Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome back. We're still reading our new book here. We've only made a few videos so far, reading One Truth, One Law, I Am, I Create, written by Erin Werley. And we are on day 5. And the title of day 5 is Why You Think You're Not God. And we start out with a quote by Albert Einstein. The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society that honors the servant and has forgotten the gift. So, as usual, this book is written in a dialogue format. So Phil, the author's husband, is asking the questions, and the higher self of Erin, I am, is answering back. So I'm going to read it exactly like that as I have previously. Phil, our persona is limiting our ability to hear our inner voice. I am. Yes, lots of people embrace their persona and block their inner self. They do not recognize that their thoughts created everything that surrounds them and everything they have become. Some don't want to believe that their thoughts are responsible. That's why people have created this idea of an evil God. They don't like what they've created. People who say God is all loving and mean it are really happy. They may not understand that they are God, but they feel that God is shining love down upon them instead of judgment. Phil, so it's really people judging themselves, not God? I am. Absolutely. Right and wrong, good and bad are human creations. Some would rather think that this idea of a God outside them is responsible and that he is mean and doesn't love them. That would explain why they find themselves in what they feel is misery. If you are looking at your life and you're unhappy with what surrounds you and what you are, it is because you are not aware of your creative power. If you are happy with what surrounds you, it's because you understand that you have a power on some level. You know you are more than the doubts and fears of your persona. Phil, so tell me more about the persona. What is the persona? I am. The persona is the part of you that believes you are not God and believes that we are not all one. It's a gift that you're given when you come into a body in the physical world that allows you to believe you are an individual. Because of the persona, you are able to have a multitude of experiences as an individual. Your persona doesn't change the truth about who you really are, but it exists in the physical world because it has been created. There is only one real truth. That truth is you are God and your thoughts create. When your parents found out that they were pregnant with you, they began thinking thoughts about you, guessing what you would be like, hoping and worrying about you. Their thoughts started to create your persona. When they told other people that they were pregnant, those people started thinking thoughts about you too. They wondered and worried about you. Doctors started thinking thoughts about you as well. When you were born, the doctor and the nurse examined you, and that started to create upon you. Then you were given a name, and your name wasn't God. Your name was Joe or Anne, and you grew up believing that's who you were. You were an individual. You weren't part of the oneness that is God. It's not truth, but it's a creation, so it exists in the physical world. Phil, my persona is not something I created, it's something other people created for me. I am. For the first few years of your life, you're only being created upon. You are running on a blueprint. You are made of I am, but I am's consciousness is not in you creating with its thoughts. But at a certain age, it varies depending on the person, I am's consciousness and ability to create with thoughts enters into the child. It's about this time that a person will remember their first memory. You had a very limited ability to remember before then because I am's consciousness was not in you yet. When I am's consciousness is in you, your thoughts join with everyone else's to continue creating your persona. In most cases, you will continue reinforcing what other people are creating upon you. If you're told that you're a great kid who is smart and awesome all of the time, you'll believe it. You'll walk around knowing how awesome you are. You'll tell people, I'm a great kid, I'm awesome, I'm really smart. Those thoughts will be created and recreated constantly, and that's what you'll grow up believing. If somebody at some point says you're stupid or bad, you'll start wondering, am I stupid? Am I bad? The more you think about it, the more you'll start creating it. So you create your persona too, but you don't start creating upon your own persona until you're old enough for I am to be thinking and creating in your body. I did read somewhere that for children, karma does not come into play until they're around 12 years old, because I think that you have to have a full understanding, or maybe not a full understanding, but a bigger understanding of reaping what you sow. And I think that's around the age that that starts to come about. So I'm wondering, I don't know if it's about this old for I am's consciousness to fully come into you, but I'm wondering if there is really a specific age for each one. I can't remember where I read that, but I may have read it on a book on this channel. I've read so many, but I did read that somewhere, and I've often wondered if that's true. All right, Phil. Why does I am wait to go into the body? Why not go in right away? I am. So your persona can be created. Phil. I am wants to create personas. Why would I am do that to itself? I am. I am wants to be heard and be I am, but at the same time, I am wants to have individual experiences. Having the persona as a veil between humans and who they really are is the only way to have an individual experience. Without personas, I am has full knowing of its oneness with everything in both the spiritual and physical worlds. This is pure joy, but limits the physical experiences I am can have. Phil. So personas exist so I am can have individual experiences? I am. Yes, for example, when you love someone, you believe that they are a separate individual, and forming a connection of oneness with them feels joyful. Love is the closest humans get to feeling what it is to be fully God, and that's why love feels so wonderful. Another example is fulfilling your blueprint. If you had no persona, there would be no opportunities to learn and grow, because you would have full knowing of who you are. The persona allows I am to come into human bodies and experience being individuals who learn and grow and make choices. The persona really is a gift, the gift of individuality. If you feel that your life is full of opportunity to create more of what you want, you are likely to view the persona as a gift. If you feel that your life is happening to you and you have no power to create what you want, you may not view your persona as a gift. Phil. So I am is seeking self-expression and the persona is preventing that? I am. Yes, the persona is afraid. Phil. Why is the persona afraid? I am. The persona is afraid that you will find out that it is not real. Like you, it's afraid of dying. Most people's number one fear is dying, isn't it? Can you think of anything someone would be more afraid of? Phil says no. I am. And why is that? It's because they're the persona, and that's the persona's fear. It's afraid of dying because it knows it doesn't really exist. The persona knows when this body dies, it turns to dust. I am is not afraid of dying because I am knows the only thing that's real is I am, and I am cannot die. Phil. But everyone is still I am, even if they think they're the persona. And I am says yes. Phil. So they don't really die. I am. No, but as an individual, as a persona, you were created this one time. There aren't going to be the same unique experiences and people to create your exact persona ever again. Once your body dies, your persona is not coming back because it never really existed in the first place. It's just a creation. Phil. So when the persona dies, all that's left is I am. We have no choice but to realize we are I am at that point. I am. Yes, you'll know immediately. You'll be one with I am in the spiritual world, radiating love. All the thoughts and memories of your body will still be in universal mind in the spiritual world. Someone dreaming 2,000 years from now might experience parts of your life in his dreams, because those memories and thoughts will always be swirling around in universal mind in the spiritual world. In that way, the experiences of all personas live on. Phil, what are the ways the persona seeks to maintain its control and limit us from realizing where I am? I am. Every tactic the persona uses is fear. There isn't anything else. That sums up all the thoughts in the world. Either you know you're I am or you're afraid. Phil, so this fear that the persona is using, how does it manifest in our world? What are some of the results that we see? It obviously has a huge impact on the shape of our society and how people interact. I am. The biggest thing is that people allow governments and individuals with more perceived authority to have control and influence over them. They allow other people to tell them what to do. Phil, so the persona wants control because it's afraid? I am. Yes, the persona has control because it's afraid. The persona is afraid because deep inside, it knows who you really are. It knows that it's just a creation and you're God. Phil, so right now, Erin's persona is only allowing through information that it believes it has access to, because to allow anything else through would be denying its own existence. And I am says yes. Phil, that's what blocking is. It's the persona protecting itself from the truth. I am says yes. Phil, oh my goodness, my hair is just... If I am God, I wish to have always perfect hair. How about that? And I guess I know I could create that. Let's see. Phil, but earlier you said the persona knows the truth but doesn't want you to find out. Who is the you that you're referring to if there's only I am and Erin? I am obviously knows the truth and is trying to tell Erin the truth. And if Erin is the persona, then who is the persona trying to hide it from other than itself? That's a big question. I am. The persona has two sides like a coin. One side is the side that you believe you are. The other side is fighting I am and keeping you unaware of what's going on. It's the side that thinks that what you might perceive as evil thoughts, even though you don't understand why you're thinking them when you don't want to be thinking that way. Phil, I understand the side of persona that's created through other people's ideas and my ideas when I'm old enough. How is the side of the persona that's fighting I am created? I am. It is created out of fear. When you create a persona and tell it that it's not God, it becomes afraid and thinks it needs to protect itself. Parents love their children and want to keep them safe. They teach their children to be careful, to protect themselves. And so children think, I'm weak and need protecting. And as a child, you build something to protect yourself. Phil, which is this part of the persona? I am. Wait. Which is this part of the persona? He's asking. And then I am says, yes. Now it's part of the persona that you aren't consciously aware of. It was created by you and the people around you to protect yourself. It's the part thinking thoughts that protect you. All the things you call bad stem from fear, from thinking that you need to protect yourself. Phil, so is that the part of the persona that's going to tell you, oh, don't trust that guy, or don't believe what they're saying, stuff like that? I am, yes, but sometimes that's I am too. It depends on whether or not you really should trust that guy. Beyond allowing you to have individual experiences, the persona is never helping you. If it's telling you not to trust somebody, you should probably consider trusting them. If I am's telling you not to trust somebody, then you should listen. That's the big thing, though. To know which one is speaking to you, which one to listen to when you're feeling torn. Phil, gotcha, and you need to know the difference. And I am says, that's right. It's very important, and you can't know the difference until you start listening to your thoughts. Phil, so at some point, I'll get good at telling the difference in the voices. I am, yes. Even though it's the same voice, you can tell the difference in the speaker. All the negative thoughts in your head are your persona. All the positive thoughts are I am. That's how you tell the difference. I was once told that that's how to tell whether your intuition is telling you something or whether it's fear. And when I say intuition, we could be talking about our higher self. We could be talking about our gut instinct, which could be potentially the same things. But what I read and what I always try to follow is that your intuition, your higher self will never tell you something out of fear. There will never be fear or emotion behind what it is that's coming to you. Whereas your ego, your persona, or your emotion is going to speak to you with emotion, and mostly with fear or nervousness or anger. So if you are not sure if it's your higher self or your gut instinct, whatever you want to refer to it as, whatever it may be, or whether it's just you being paranoid or if it's coming from a different place, what emotion is it bringing to you? Intuition and the higher voice usually just comes through like a fact, like that place isn't good to go to, don't go there, or turn left. Instead of saying don't turn right, it just says turn left. That's going to be the intuition. Whereas something coming from fear or an emotion is going to go, don't go that way, don't go that way, danger, danger. Or it's going to be something like that. It's going to be something that comes from fear and it sounds like fear and it's got that tone of fear or whatever it is behind it, the emotion. So that's what I try to remember. If I'm not sure if it's my intuition that's speaking, intuition, or if it's something coming from my own self, stemming from my own issue or emotion. Okay. So if it's a doubting thought, I should think that's the persona. Wait, let me make sure. Yeah. And I am says yes. Phil, as Erin trusts in I am more and builds her knowing that her thoughts create, there will be less of Erin's doubts, and I am says yes. Phil, as those limiting beliefs dwindle away, her knowing becomes fuller, and I am says, limiting beliefs can only dwindle away because knowing increases. Knowing increases because your awareness that your thoughts create increases. Phil, so the more we understand and experience that our thoughts create by taking action and building, the more our knowing grows. As our knowing grows, our limiting beliefs dwindle and I am becomes fuller. I am, yes, if that is what you create. If that is what you create, you can build your knowing and still keep your persona. You will not be fully I am, but you will be a persona that knows it is I am and creates. You know now that it is that you want to create. You know now what it is that you want to create. You believe that it's possible, but you don't believe it is done yet. Take action and work on your creation. Work only has to be done because you aren't complete in your knowing yet. You wouldn't call it work if you were complete in your knowing. If you were complete in your knowing, you would only be I am focused in a human vessel, and you would be joyfully typing away on the computer. You'd be so excited to share these words, you would be radiating love. Phil, so our doubts and fears are preventing us from the joyful experience of typing away. I am. Fear is not knowing. Phil, that's why some things are perceived as work and other things are perceived as joyful. I am says yes. And I think they're talking about typing because in the introduction, or I think maybe in the first chapter, the author talks about this book was published many, many years after these sessions were done. And they weren't sure what to do with them, but quite frankly, they were young, inexperienced, and they were afraid of what people would say. They were afraid of judgment. They didn't know how these things would be received. So they held on to them, forgot about them, and then the author came across them again many years later, and because of the growth that she had experienced in between those times, felt that it was right and basically threw caution to the wind and brought this information to the public for you to take however it is that you want to take it. So that's kind of, I think, why he's talking about if you didn't have the fear, you would be typing this up right now. You would be getting it out there. You would be creating it. But they did, which is an awesome thing. Phil, so we can take anything and, I had already read that. Turn it into work and then turn it into a joyful experience. And then I am says, yes. Erin and I were talking earlier about how she's gone to big amusement parks a few times in her life. She said she'd never had such a joyful experience as when she went recently. Other times it has felt like a hassle. She just wanted to go home and sit down, but this time she decided that she would be joyful. My point is that anyone can, and people do this every day, turn experiences that could be joyful into misery. Their thoughts are created immediately, so whatever they think it is, it is. Isn't that the truth? We're so programmed to turn what could be a really fun, great, exciting, beautiful experience and turn it to shit with our thoughts. We ruin it with our assumptions and our what ifs and our worries, anxieties, and fears, caring what people think, all those things we ruin. Yet it seems easy to do that. And then when we want to shift that thinking, which it can be easy, but it's going to be something that you have to make a conscious effort to do for a long time if you've been programmed to basically look at the glass half empty at what other things that should be joyful. It's going to take a while. But we can actually do that. But it's funny how it seems like it takes a small amount of effort to turn a great thing into a scary thing or into a miserable thing, yet it seems to take more work to actually flip that around and actually make it a joyful thing. And it should really be the opposite, but we're so conditioned for it to be the other way that we actually have to work at finding joy, which when you say that out loud just sounds horrible. It is horrible. All right, so main thoughts from day 5. God does not judge, humans judge. This might be sort of a tough one for a lot of people to grasp. I do still struggle with it as well. Good and bad, right and wrong are human creations, although I do believe that. So I'm a little bit of an enigma because sometimes I know what I don't believe, but sometimes I struggle with what I really do because there's so much out there. Anyways, moving on. Your persona is a creation. It is not who you really are. The veil of the persona allows us to experience the physical world as individuals. All right. So our next video, day 6, is titled Create with a Purpose. This is a really great book. I'm actually sad that it's not longer, that they didn't do more sessions, but I have no doubt in my mind at all that this author has come out with some other book. So I'll have to, I'll have to look into that and see what else that she has out there. So, all right, we'll go ahead and stop right there. Thank you all so much for joining me. I love you all. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of those around you. And I will see you all again soon for day 6 in our new book. Take care. Bye-bye.